Hello YouTube, welcome to episode 1 of the brand new Chunk Locked Ironman account, where we're gonna take Runescape 3 one chunk at a time. My name's Jerry, and we're gonna start this journey from a fresh new account, starting right on Lumbridge. But first, what's a chunk? A chunk is a small squared area in the map, as you can see on my screen, where I'm gonna be locked to, where I cannot do anything outside my chunk. If we start in Lumbridge, we can do the following things in our chunk. Get 40 attack for an adamant weapon, get a slayer task, 35 cooking for a jug of wine, 60 fire making for some yew logs, 25 fishing for a raw pike, 60 fletching for some arrow shafts from yew logs, a couple herbal and easy magic requirements just level 1, 40 range for an addy throwing axe, get a slayer task for level 1, 62 thieving to crack a safe in Mist Talon, which is going to be a hard one, and 70 wood cutting to cut some yew logs. We also need to get some insulated boots, a leaf-bladed spear, spike gauntlet, spiny helmet, and a bunch of other items. We also have to get a staff of air, wizard rope skirt, and wizard rope top. Those come from implinks. And then we have to do a bunch of the easy achievements. That last one, just add water, is the only one that's a little bit tough. We need to get soft clay. We need to get a clay drop from an implink before we can proceed. So yeah, the hard ones here are gonna be the fletching, level 60, 70 wood cutting, 62 thieving, 60 fire making. All the requirements are gonna be easy, so let's get started with our chunk. And we dropped in Lumbridge. First thing we're gonna do here is visit our friend Bob. We're gonna get a couple of bronze ranged weapons and melee weapons so we can get started. This is gonna be the best way for us to get ranged weapons later on. After that, we gotta start where all good accounts start, doing some good old fishing. So we're getting some crawfish, we have to get crayfish, we gotta have 25 from here. 25 fishing, so we're just, getting this started here early. Couple of early levels, nothing major here. Now we're gonna try and do some slayer. We got a big frog task. Sadly there are no big frogs in our chunk, so we're gonna have to basically backlog slayer until we can do it later. Now we're gonna start with some easy levels. Here's some cooking levels from cooking the crayfish. And that is level 4 cooking. Level 5 cooking. Just some easy levels to get started and easing into the account here. Now we're gonna head a little bit back to Bob, and we're basically really important for us to get some of Bob's weapons. We're gonna get the battle axe, the offhand battle axe, and we're gonna get even more of the ranged weapons. Those ranged weapons are gonna be the best way for us to train. We're gonna come over here to Gielinor and buy our spike gauntlets, which is part of our chunk tasks, gives a little bit of extra defense. So we're gonna go ahead and save that for later. Here we got a defense level and you got a creamy wham leaf, which is one of the chunk requirements. We are basically gonna clean it, and that's gonna complete the only herbal requirement for the chunk. Here we're gonna make some incense sticks, which I just realized we need 2 ashes, so we're gonna do those a little bit later. And here we are killing goblins. Killing goblins is how we're gonna have to get 40 attack, 40 ranged for our chunk goals of equipping an adamant weapon and equipping the ranged adamant weapons, which require 40 attack and 40 range respectively. There's no way for us to get any armor or anything in this chunk, so defense is not necessary, but we're gonna be leveling up nonetheless, so we don't get hit too much and we don't need to bring extra food. So yeah, we're gonna spend quite a bit of time with goblins. Goblins have a pretty bad drop table, but they do drop some of the charms. We're gonna stock that in case we, in a few years or whatever, get to the summoning chunk. They also drop some gold coins and a lot of bones, so we're gonna be training prayer. They also drop some runes and some grapes, which grapes are gonna be what we need to make a jug of wine with level 35 cooking for our chunk, and also for later on we can stock up on them, and in case we later need some cooking XP, we can do that. Here's level 10 attack, which is a pretty good attack level. Now we can get an iron axe and an iron battle axe. So right here we're gonna take some thieving levels. Thieving woman is one of the best ways, probably the only way for us to get started. And then at 38 we can switch to master farmers. We need to get a little bit of money. We need to buy a bunch of different items. But money is not going to be too big of an issue in this chunk because I need to get 60 fletching. So if I sell some of the fletched willow items to the oak and willow items to the shop, I'm going to easily make enough to buy everything I need from the different shops. And here's a level 8 thieving, level 9, and level 10. So some pretty good levels here to get started before we go back and keep going on with the goblins for level 10 ranged. Pretty good level. Now we're gonna head back and we're gonna start doing some of the tasks. There's some really easy tasks. I didn't record them all. I didn't record talking to the sage or talking to the Doom Master, but I'm gonna record, ringing the bell, which is gonna give us an achievement, I guess they're called in RuneScape 3. There's also an achievement for talking to the Duke, and there's also an achievement for going out here onto a top floor and raising the flag. This is gonna be our achievements. At the end, we're gonna discuss what we've achieved in this chunk and what we still have to go later on, before we go back to thieving. And here we go with another thieving level. We're pretty close to it. There we go. That is level 15 thieving. So thieving is going pretty good. Getting a little bit of coin. And just leveling up, trying to get to 38 for the master farmers, which are gonna be big. Here I was trying stalls. Stalls are a little bit better than the woman, but they are also way more click intensive. So I did stalls for a little bit, but spoiler alert for later this episode, I went back to woman just because I could click them once and get like 5 or 10 seconds without having to click again. And this is, I need to click like every couple ticks. Back to fishing. We still need a lot of food for thieving grind and for combat grind. So just an inventory of food, 12 fishing and 18 cooking. So these levels are not going to be a problem for us in the chunk. These are pretty easy skills. Thieving is going to be a long one, but it's not going to be any more long than what woodcutting is going to be with that 70 requirement, which is actually quite a pretty hefty requirement. And here we are just on thieving levels in the background, 26 thieving. Well, before we go back for a little bit more combat. Alrighty, we're back at goblins. I'm alternating a lot between thieving and combat because thieving is a little bit of a monotone grind for me, so I need to basically switch that up a bit. So we're gonna go a lot between thieving and combat. So here we are just training some attack and just training some ranged as well here. We're very close to our range level. And that's gonna be a pretty juicy 21 ranged. We're also training some prayer here with the bones. Hopefully getting up to level 30 here. 24 ranged. And we're going back to thieving. 30 thieving. 32 thieving. 33 thieving. 34 thieving. Here I just decided to go for it and just basically just get to 38 because I was getting really annoyed of thieving. And master farmers aren't gonna be any better, but they're gonna be at least better XP, so that's what we want. Here's the big one, 38 thieving. Now with that in mind, we can basically go back to goblins. 25 cooking, just getting some food for the goblins. We don't really need to train strength for anything in our chunk. There's not really a strength requirement, but I want to level it up a little bit as well. I don't want to leave it too much behind. So that's 17 strength, and we also got 16 prayer, which is pretty good. 20 strength. 12 defense. I'm also leveling defense, so I don't have to get that much food for goblins because I don't have any armor here, so defense levels are gonna be a little bit important. That's level 20 defense. And now we're back to attack. Attack is the most important one. When we got to 20, we got the steel battle axe. I'm only operating my main hand, not the offhand. So 25 attack. We're gonna keep going with the attack levels. That's 27 attack. A nice prayer level, a nice 20, which is pretty good. Just off the goblin bones. Here we have 28 attack. And here we are taking a little bit of a break and we're buying some of the items. We're buying the insulated boots. We cannot wear them, but they're part of the chunk requirement. And also the Witchwood icon. So we cannot wear them, but hey, we have them, completed a chunk task, and let's move on. And here we are back to training. That's 30 attack. So that means we can go to Bob's shop and we can buy the Mithril Battle Axe, which is going to be really good for us. It's going to really improve our strength, power, our damage, and basically the time that it takes for us to level up exponentially. So here we are with our friend Bob. We have the money just from random drops and from what we thieve from the woman. So we can just sell our steel battle axe and buy the mithril battle axe. And with that we can get rolling. And that's so good. That's such a good upgrade for us. So here we're back to training. 23 strength. 30 hit points, which is pretty good. Basically don't really need any food right now for this, but we're gonna need food for the thieving grind, so we're still gonna have to fish. And also complete our chunk goals. That's 23 prayer. That's level 30 strength, and that's where we're gonna stop for strength. We don't really have a strength requirement, so I think 30 is a good stopping point. 25 defense. 27 defense. 28 defense. 30 defense, and that we don't have a defense requirement right now, so we had level 5 for the spiny helmet, which as you can see I'm wearing it right now. Didn't include the buying it from the shop because you can see it in the videos. So yeah, we're gonna stop with the defense there and we're just gonna try and get attack to our higher levels. So that's 32 attack. That's 34 attack. So here we're just gonna basically grind out 40, 35, 37. You're seeing it really quick, but this took a couple hours. And we're gonna take a little bit of a break here to do some clue scrolls. I got a lot of clue scrolls from goblins here, so that's gonna be really good for us. So here we're gonna search. And we actually got 2 steps now. So hopefully the next step, if we get a next step, it's gonna be a clue. So let's just destroy and see if we get a next step. That's in Camelot, so that's not gonna work for us. Yep, Head's Oasis, so that's Alcarid, that's not gonna work for us. Alcarid, that's not gonna work for us. Ardoin, that's not gonna work for us. Hopefully we can get one more, come on. Yanil, that's not gonna work for us. We need to get one more in our chunk in Lumbridge. Baroque Palette, that's not gonna work for us. That's not gonna work for us. Come on, one more Lumbridge one. That's not gonna work for us. Nope, Champion's Guild, that's not gonna work for us. I'm getting so many clues, so we're trying, hopefully completing one casket and see if we can get anything good. Oh, Lumbridge Castle. We got here a Wizard Rope Skirt, which is really good from an imp since it's a random drop that we need for our chunk. And drumroll, we're not gonna be opening it this episode. We're gonna be opening at the start of the next episode. For now, let us discuss what we accomplished in our chunk this week. So here are our active chunk tasks. Basically, we have a Slayer requirement that I didn't show at the start, but we cannot do that Slayer requirement because we got frogs and we don't have frogs in our chunk, so we're locked out of Slayer for now. We cannot wield the leaf bladed weapon because we cannot get Slayer. So that's backlogged until we have access to Slayer. So what did we accomplish this chunk? So we did get 3 combat. We got a Slayer assignment. We wore a spiny helmet. We cleaned the Kringuam. We cast Confuse on an enemy with the Mind Rune from the Lumbridge Castle. We got a Slayer assignment, even though we can't complete it, we got it. We got the insulated boots, the spike gauntlets, the spiny helmet, and a witchwood icon from the shop. We also got a staff of fur from a goblin and a wizard robe skirt. And we did complete all of the tasks except the very last one where we need to get a clay drop from an implank. We have some thieving, fire making, fletching, attack, ranged, and wood cutting grinds to go for our next episode. So I'll see you here next week for episode 2. Thanks for watching. Any feedback, I appreciate it. I'm not a master video editor. This is my first time really editing anything, so it's not gonna be as good, but any feedback, please let me know and I'll take it into account. I'll see you all next week.